Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Ice Project, officially in our new studio. If you're listening to this via podcast, you'll be able to hear it. If you're watching this on YouTube as well, you'll be able to see it as well. So yeah, has been a while since we've done this, but roll the intro.
Welcome to the Ice Project. Welcome to the Ice Project.
All right, today's agenda, we're going to be talking about cancel culture. They started coming up after YKTR and touching on a bit of talent, Brilliant Bears, Olin Tickers, Willie Mason, and change of environment. So sort of growing on everything that we've learned off the past couple months, especially for myself as well. So got Lukey behind the mic. Say, what's up, Lukey?
Hello.
You can hear me? You can hear me sweet?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right, cool. So cancel culture came after us a couple of weeks ago. The boys were on Grousing a few reds and made a comment. If you follow YKTR, I'm sure you've been about it. So pretty bit of a crazy situation the boys sort of went through as well. And us as a brand, and everyone's sort of going cancel YKTR, cancel YKTR. So really great sort of learning experience for the boys. Obviously at the time, very stressful. Obviously, you sort of see your business life flash before your eyes from the start to where you are right now. And when you start to hear things like that, it starts to get a little bit scary as well. So yeah, obviously the boys fronted up and apologized for it. Probably our biggest regret, and my regret from that situation, was not jumping on the front foot and sort of dealing with it straight away. We sort of let it ride for a bit, and it's not like we weren't going to address it. We just wanted to address it on the platform in which it happened. So the boys put out a bit of micro content. It picked up heavy on TikTok. There was someone that called us out on it, and it started to gather momentum in the algorithm of TikTok, and then by Monday afternoon, it just taken off, and we were getting hundreds and hundreds of messages, mostly from New Zealand, about what they thought. And through it, there was a lot of great lessons in there as well. Like a lot of it was hate. The boys were getting death threats, threats of violence, saying you can never come back as well. But within all that, there was some really good messages of learnings for us as well, and learnings for the boys. So it was the first time the boys had actually gone through not adversity in their life, but adversity on a sort of public platform. And we can't use this platform and get all the benefits of it, or building an Instagram brand and selling clothes and doing very well off it, and not see the other side of the backlash. So it was a really interesting experience for it. Lukey, what was your thoughts on it all up?
Yeah, I think, like you said, you should have just nipped it in the butt earlier, apologized straight off the bat. And but once the video got out there, I think people could see how genuinely rattled the boys were by it, and they knew that they've done the wrong thing. They addressed it, and they moved forward.
Normally YKTR, this is how we operate. Whenever I've fucked up in the past, and we've been through adversity plenty of times, phone camera out, apologize, accountability, take your lessons and move on. And the time that we let it sort of sit there, I see like our silence was deafening. We put out a post on Monday. We planned to address it on the Tuesday when the boys were filming. That was going to be the first part of their podcast. But by the time the algorithm had picked up on TikTok, it was kind of too late as well. And we let it sit overnight. The boys addressed it in the morning. But you sort of learn that like accountability, like people are going to fuck up. And I've fucked up plenty of times, and if you listen to this, I'm sure you have as well. A little bit different on the public platform because you're at the mercy of the internet, and the internet's got no barriers, got no gatekeepers as well, so everyone's accessible towards us as well. And the boys really felt that as well. So all in all, now we're at the other side of it. It was a great lesson. One of the things that we sort of talked about in the staff meeting straight off the back of that was, like, it doesn't matter how many good things you do. Like this year, we've donated over $200,000 of clothing to people. We donate to charities. No one really cares about that stuff, and we don't do that stuff to please other people. That fills up our cup internally. No one cares that we've pumped out 5 years of content, and most of it's been positive. What a lot of people do, they're going to judge you on your flaws, and they want to congregate together and pick you out on your flaws. One of the disappointing things I learned from it, one of my disappointing takeaways from it is, like, I've grown up in New Zealand, and earlier on this podcast, it's like I want to motivate people in New Zealand and make them feel better. And there was a brand called Huffer, which I grew up on, and they were from my hometown, and I was always inspired by them as well. So my biggest disappointment is that people's first, like, a lot of people wouldn't have heard of YKTR in New Zealand, and their first impression of YKTR is going to be that video as well. So that's probably the thing I'm probably most frustrated about. But it was good. It was good for the boys. I think they'll be better from that as well. I think the accountability that they took was really good. They had to wear the shots, and like leadership's hard sometimes. Initially, myself, me and Lukey were talking. I was going to jump on the video and take the hits for the boys, but Lukey sort of talked me out of that as well. And sometimes leadership standing in front of them taking the bullets, and then sometimes it's sort of standing next to them and let them take the bullets and you help pick them up. Is that a fair statement, Lukey?
Yeah. I think they needed to. It wasn't obviously it was your platform to a degree that it was the stupid comment was made, but it was important for them to feel the consequence of their own actions and realize that the opportunities that they have is because they're on your platform. So I think we did the right thing there.
Yeah, and they've learned their lessons. Boys were getting hammered, so it was good. My mum used to say, "Sticks and stones may break your bones, but names can never hurt you." Right now, we live in a internet age. So if you think of a stick and stone, for me to hurt you, you have to be in my physical presence. I can only throw a stick and stone so far as well. Words, and right now, everyone's got a voice. The best thing about social media, everyone's got a social media. The worst thing about social media is everyone's got social media. So the power of words, you don't know how far. Like, you can inspire someone with words, you can make them laugh, make them feel happy. But you can also hurt a lot of people's feelings. And like I said, with stick and stone, you can only throw it so far. With words, all you have to do is sit in the studio, press enter, and it gets distributed out to the world. And if it gets picked up and the algorithm gets behind it, there's going to be consequences for that. So plenty of good lessons in there for us. Won't stop us, won't try and give up to cancel culture or anything like that. I think cancel culture is dismissive, but just take our licks, get back on the horse and keep rolling forward. All right. We're talking about talent a lot now. We've basically got the setup here, about to get the Ice project back rolling as well. So hopefully have some people sitting across from here pretty soon. I'm excited about that. Got Paco G'd up clothing. They're doing great things right now. Killing the streetwear games in terms of revenue, in terms of sellouts. They're our neighbours here in the office as well. We get along with those boys really, really well. So I'm going to have Paco as my first guest. Quay Cooper's coming back. He's my best friend growing up. He's back in the country. So the Ice project was always sort of about talking to people that I was interested in and giving a platform, and that Quaid one was really interesting, where it flipped a lot of the narratives that Quaid had about him. Most of New Zealand used to hate him as well, but the old kneeing Richie McCaw in the head, those types of stories got picked up, and that kind of went viral for as well. So looking forward to interviewing some really cool people. I'm excited about that. In terms of talent for YKTR Sports, we had Willie Mason on the other day. Different dynamic. I love the vibe of him. I think Mace is, one, he's done everything in the game, so people are going to listen to him. 2, he's a straight talker. 3, he's a big personality. And 4, he's different to me and Scope. A lot of the times, me and Scope sort of have very similar sporting views as well. We were similar players, the knockabout blokes. We're good for the locker room, love getting around the boys. Not necessarily that talented, so we see the game in a certain light. Willie Mason was a fucking superstar. He was one of the very first big characters in the 2000s, the way he looked, the big afro. He's always comfortable speaking his mind. I just really love the dynamic of having him in there as well. Started reading all the comments, like, need to get Mace back on. I know he's got his own things going on, but there's something there, Lukey?
100%.
What does it look, off the top of your head, what does that look like?
I think some sort of his commentary around footy and just his takes on everything, like you just said, they're just so direct and people love hearing that side of it, sort of like unfiltered, what literally is unfiltered, what he says.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's scope for us to have a discussion with him to see. Obviously, he has his own podcast too. So, obviously, there's something there. He wants to have a platform. So, I'm not sure how big his podcast is, but I think people were very impressed with him.
I think he was impressed with how, and this is probably credit to you guys, of like, because he was in there early too. Like, this is our new podcast studio. This is the first episode that we're doing, but he's sat in our very first podcast. So maybe him walking in and looking around, a bit more serious. He might be taking us a bit more serious. He reached out to Scope straight after. He goes, "Get me on for Origin 2 and 3. I really loved it. Had the photos and that sent to him as well." So.
Yeah. His photo that he has as his Instagram profile is the one that I took of him when he was here.
Yeah, sick. So we love that sort of shit. And like, we are on the lookout for talent, but we want the right talent. So in my mind, he's there. So we'll probably just open up some conversations with him to see what that sort of looks like moving forward. I'm excited for that. bumped into the Brilliant boys up in Magic Round. I like the dynamic of those two boys. I always think that dynamic's good. You got that one really super funny guy, and then you got the guy who sort of steers the direction and does all the editing. And it's usually the perfect balance of a podcast, Lukey.
Yeah.
You need that, If you have two fuck around guys, it's never going to work. If you have two serious guys, that's not going to work as well. So bumped into those boys. Realistically, I think they're on the path to success as well. Like them coming in underneath us probably doesn't make them any bigger, or I think they're already on their pathway. They've been going hard for a couple of years. So to sort of go in and try and get those boys underneath us, probably maybe a year ago, maybe like Hello Sports 2 years ago, that would have been the perfect time to pick them up. You've seen them jump on Denon's platform. They've sort of taken off. You've seen Rugby League Guru jump on Denon's platform. They're taking off. He's taken off as well. And those three guys, Tom, Eddie, Guru, they all work very hard, so they deserve that. They just needed that platform to shine on. I think Brilliant Bears are already on their way. You agree?
Yeah, 100%. And like we're sort of a bit sheltered from it down here, but in Queensland, like they're like the goats around that little Brisbane area with all the club rugby and everything like that.
The club rugby is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I think Pig Athletic Club have stopped.
Yeah, I think they were telling me that they've moved overseas, or they're not going to be podcasting out of the Caxton or something like that.
They had a real chance, those guys, I reckon. It reminds me of 257. I was sort of sad to see those boys take a break from podcasting. Obviously, when you look at that dynamic, I think the reason why I resonate with 257 so much, because it reminds me of me, Chico, and Normie very early on. They're probably a little bit cooler than we were. We were a bit more like knockabout party boys. They've got their wits about them, man. They're quite intellectual. They talk a little bit deeper than we ever did at that age.
You could also argue that like they've been able to watch, not the mistakes is probably lack of a better term, but like watch what you guys did and then take that on board and then put their own spin on it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I agree with that. But obviously, Kalen's locked up into too many contracts with not obviously. If you're with Nike, you stay with Nike. Would you? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
Nike's.
Remember Steph went to Under Armour?
Yeah, because they wouldn't let him put on his Bible quote on the side of his shoe. So
interesting.
Yeah, that's why I forgot what the quote is, but if you look at all his shoes, he's got that one down the side. So the hard thing about 257 was Kalen was always sort of locked up, and when you look at them, he's the superstar there. Connor's super cool. Croaks has got that nice balance. He's the one that's organised and planning out. So I wouldn't say that they're finished. I think they're just taking a break. But I do hope they come back. They're a couple guys that have a real big chance of making whatever they want to do. I just feel like they need a bit of direction. They were doing like endorsement deals and stuff like that, and I'm hearing them behind the scenes, and they just kind of had no structure behind it, which is usually most podcasts when they first start out, or most businesses when they start out. But they got a real good chance, so I'm excited for that. Olin Tickers, loving him. He's been around the office, sort of Lukey. What do you call it? Scouted?
Yeah, 100%. I mentioned his name in the office ages ago.
Yeah, you did. And like Lukey was trying to get Olin Tickers onto Grouse in a few reds, but Geordie wasn't really having it.
Yeah, this was even before he signed. We didn't sign, but he made all the Parramatta Eels content where he was trying to pick which NRL team he was on. And you'd seen him out. He's out at like Sinaloa and whatnot, knocking about with like Kalen. And then there's a clip with him with Cleary as well. So he's clearly itching for some sort of rugby league content. And then Para came up. I think that was a good move from Para. Now he's at all their games doing content and whatnot. So it's just cool to, especially being away with him, and like we've knocked out with him for probably 6 weeks now, I'd say.
Yeah, you guys got pretty close, eh?
Yeah, so someone who's just like hungry and just wants to go and get in front of the camera, and it's motivating.
It's refreshing, bro. It is refreshing. So I think like we've talked about complacency in this office so many times, and when it's all laid out for you, like you just take it for granted. He's hungry. He's keen to edit. So he'll definitely be part of YKTR. He's asked to come on as talent. I've like loosely agreed to it as well. He's going away to England for a month very soon. Probably the timing is like a little bit off, but I think he's validated in everything that he does. I think he's hungry to make content. I think he brings, much like Mace brings a different dynamic. I think Olin Tickers, one, he's English. Two, he does sound nothing like us. 3, he's bigger on TikTok than we are.
Massive.
So he kind of covers everything. 1, he's hardworking. 2, he's in the platform that we want to grow on. And 3, there's a point of difference. He's not like the same as everyone else as well. So Olin Tickers, he's got some ideas too. Couple dating shows. I've always wanted to nail the food content as well. I know sort of Chico was sort of down that alley. Scope was doing the bacon and egg. Those done well, eh?
Yeah. If you did them now on just purely just TikTok, it'd be game changer.
How do you get Scope out on the field again?
We'll figure a way.
So yeah, Olin Tickers was there. A lot of people have been asking about sort of the Brandon Smith stuff as well. Obviously, like he's signed to YKTR Sports, and we give him merch and stuff like that. But I think really next year is how we can really grow. I didn't realize this is their first game in Sydney this week, and it's like around 12 or 13. So he hasn't been in town. We can do Zoom podcasts and stuff like that, but it just doesn't have the same buzz. Like when Mace is in here and he's sitting across from you from there and you're talking to him, like there's an exchange of energy that you can't replicate on Zoom as well. So Cheese will be in town from 2023 over the next couple of years. We'll build shows in and around him. We could do a little lead up preseason style vlog. He could be in the podcast studio doing his thing. Connor's there as well. He loves making content. I think Victor Radley's a super interesting dude. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But a lot of people ask if he's still underneath us. He's not underneath us. He's just assigned with us and as terms of talent.
Look after his boots and things like that.
Yeah, we can. But once he's here, we'll be able to figure out all his stuff. We can sit down and have meetings. So he's in town. I'll go catch up with him this week and see what he's up to. But I think we can do some really cool stuff in and around Cheese moving forward. Environment, I'm feeling a lot more balanced again. If you've seen this podcast probably about 2 months ago, fucking stressed as. But a couple of things I've been doing. Been walking every morning. Me and Mallow do a little walk for about an hour every morning. He's a better dog too, so if you got a dog, walk him. I'm investing in my environment again. So if you look at this podcast studio, we've spent $50,000 on a podcast studio. When you come in here, you feel good, eh, Lukey? Do you feel good?
Yeah.
We just want to be here, get away from the boys.
Makes me want to figure out what to talk about on a microphone.
Then let's bring back trending.
Yeah, 100%.
Bring back trending. But you feel good. You want to be in an environment. My house hasn't been settled. I've just bought furniture for my house. That's going to be settled soon. I've moved upstairs in our office. That's almost going to be settled. We bought couches and chairs upstairs. Everything's just starting to come along and starting to piece together. And environment's always been really important to me. I've penciled out my travel plans over the next couple for the back half of the year. So I've got things that I want to look forward to. If I don't have nothing to look forward to, I find myself just going out and getting on the piss at Sinaloa and buying bottles and spending stupid money and hanging around people that we didn't even want it. We get a table, bro.
And just
yeah, it's like a seagull, and then all these girls come up. Me and Luke are just sitting there on our own, and like just talking to people that we wouldn't normally talk to. And it's not like arrogance or anything, but we just don't have interests or similar interests in there. And we look cool because we've got like girls hanging around us, but me and Luke are just like that, talk to ourselves and fucking protect the bottle as well. So, yeah, that's inside YKTR. Back in the studio as well. Cancel culture. Lessons we learned from that is accountability. Own up to your fuck-ups as well. Learn from them, grow from them, but don't let them define you. I think that's really important. Talent, Brilliant Bears, those boys are already on their way. Olin Tickers is going to be a part of YKTR pretty soon. Hopefully we'll get Mace on as well, the big dog in some sort of capacity. We don't know what that looks like. Cheese, content coming soon once he gets into town. Please hold tight on that. And environment shapes you up who you are. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. Love being in this podcast studio. And, yeah, more content. A fuckload more content coming soon. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later.